Hey guys, what's up? This is Mando-Bricks, and this is my almost full mock review. Kind of just going over everything with this mock, because if you saw the short little video I posted earlier today, you could see that I was working on a stand, and now I've actually fully finished that. And I wanted to film it tonight because I'm worried that the stand is going to fall apart and the whole thing is going to shatter in the middle of the night. So I wanted to do it now. Hopefully that's not the case. So far it seems to be holding pretty strong. Yeah, sorry, I had to move around it just to check that for a moment. I didn't prepare this at all. Yes, so I'm just going to go over as much of it as I can with this orientation. So I'll kind of be moving from, I think, head to toe at first, and then I'll swerve around for the back so you can actually see that, because in the last video I did on that, it was like terrible and everything because I didn't have a stand. So now that I actually have a stand, I can show you what it looks like in better detail and everything. Yeah. Okay. So, I guess starting from the bottom, of course, there's the same guns, the Mythosaur skull there. I have a cross on the other side because God is just awesome. Yeah, of course, we have the same medium laser cannons there. And then, of course, if you move those, we have the missiles over there. And that's all of that. If we move this panel up and then move the gun this way and move that like this, you can see the interior there with the beds and then the bathroom just for longer space flights and things. So it's kind of a bit of realism that this ship doesn't actually have, but I decided to put it in there. So here are some rapid fire medium laser cannons, as the Jango Fett variant has. This is not supposed to necessarily be the Jango Fett variant, but it's supposed to be kind of modeled after that same color scheme and the things that his had. So, sorry, the light's messing up now because of just the angling of it. But here's the cockpit, of course. You can see that there are two seats in there behind this console area, and those move along with this because they're actually connected to the top of that. If you can see, there are two beams there. But, so we have the cockpit up here, all of the controls, doodads, and whatnots inside of that. And then, of course, behind that, there is kind of just another space back there that has some different containers and areas that you can stand and all that. And then if you wanted to get to airlock, you can, oh, sorry, Bova. You can move that ramp down, and once you do that, you can basically go straight from the ramp that's kind of in the middle. There's kind of a crack right there that I need to fill in so you can actually kind of see it. But that ramp that you can see within that crack goes all the way up to where the airlock is, which is up here, which I'll show you in when I move to the back. I'm not going to bother opening this area up because that's probably just going to cause a whole lot of problems. And of course, you know, while I can shake it a bit and the stand can take it, I don't want to stress it too much, because if this shatters mid-video, then, well, there's a new pieces of video there that I don't think I would like. So of course here are the wings, and that has the standard stuff. Those are pistons that kind of help articulate it. There's the main kind of fin section back there. As you can see, it's a traditional Slave 1 shape. And then this is actually it's a headlight brick, but actually, as you can see, when Jango Fett is chasing Obi-Wan through an asteroid field, there is actually a giant spotlight there, and that's on both wings. So the headlight brick actually is a headlight, even on a spaceship. So ain't that just fun? Of course, down here there's a boarding ramp. You can kind of see that better on some of my other videos, just because you don't really need to extend a boarding ramp because it's kind of like in flight mode. And then if you can see up there, I actually can't even see what the camera's seeing right now because of the angle and everything, but that's the door inside the ship. So I hope that's helpful. And then of course this thing moves as it always has, so that when it lands it can be in that other position. And then this still has the dual-seated cockpit that we see in episode 2. with the pilot and the co-pilot, and that same curved domed console that they have in there. Then of course there's this big grate thing that you can see in all the cross sections and such that is directly above them. And of course there would be a big windshield over that, but if I were to try to, I guess even the UCS set windshield is not big enough for the actual minifig scale, because that's actually not minifig scale. It's a little bit under, but LEGO lies to us and says that it is, because they're just sucky that way sometimes. But if I were to build a windshield out of other windows and stuff, there would just be all these creases and stuff, and it would just look kind of bad. So I decided to not even bother including a windshield, just because now you can see the interior more, and it's just kind of, it would kind of just look bad anyway, so, or just be inaccurate. So now I'm going to go ahead and transition to the back, and if the camera comes back on and the whole thing is shattered on the ground, well then I'm sorry. That's not intentional. So I shall be back in a minute after I turn this whole thing around. And here we are, and hooray, it did not crash and burn. Thank you, Jesus. So you can't really see all of the back detailing, of course, just because of the stand. It actually, so the mine layer is in here, and you'll have to see the video on the back of the ship to actually see that properly. But yeah, so the mine layer is in here, but if you open the doors, when I was building it, I kind of had a stand, at least partially in mind, even though I didn't build it at the same time. So I built kind of an outlet of a 1x4 with Technic pin holes, 3 of them, of course, because that's just how that piece is. I installed that in the top there, so in the future I could make a stand, because that was at a strong-ish structural point, and it was a good place to hide away kind of a stand connection and not have it in a place where you can really see it. Because even if you're looking at it this way, you can't actually see up, because the way that's built, there's the back of the mine layer, and then there's this top section, of course, and the walls here, and the mines come in this way, but it's on the top here. So you can't actually see it even if you're looking that way, which you really couldn't, because the stand is there anyway. So, yeah. So this is the back, of course, and I guess I'll just show you all the different parts from top to bottom. So, of course, starting with the top, we have the big dish that's in a lot of these, and then this is, the detailing on that area differs. I kind of used some image, I don't remember exactly which one, because I deleted all the screenshots after I actually built the thing. But this is an airlock, as it is in the Clone Wars TV show, and a lot of this ship is kind of based off of the Clone Wars TV show, mixed with like episode 2 and stuff, but not really so much of the Mandalorian. In any case, that does open, and I'll just go ahead and move the camera in, but of course you can see that grate on the other side, and then there's a ladder with a hatch that actually goes all the way down the side of the ship, and all the way down to the landing ramp, which is out there. So that is that. And of course, minifigures can stand in there. It's kind of hard, but you know, they can to an extent at least. I mean, with the way that they laid everything out in the Clone Wars TV show, it doesn't really work. It's just not really enough space in the ship. And I'm not going to build this even bigger, because this actually is just about minifigure scale based on how the cross sections worked and such. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I measured this out too, and it's about right. And if it is anything, it's a little bit bigger. Sorry, there's just some dust on here, so I might be dusting that off while filming this. Moving down a bit, these are the main ion engines. That's all pretty basic. These are the same pieces that they use for some awnings and city sets, and it was also used in the Tron LEGO Ideas set for the rail behind the light cycles. That took me so long. It's kind of sad. Not the best plot of a movie, but it definitely looked awesome. Anyway, not talking about Tron. Of course, this is kind of just built with, I like to call them L-bricks. They have studs on 2 sides, of course. And I wanted to do that so I can actually have this design where it wasn't kind of with studs facing downwards, similar to this. So it was just more clean and smooth, I guess. So moving down from that, of course, we have the mine layer, and as I said earlier, this is kind of covered up, so I can't actually show you how it works. but normally I have this little switch down here, and if I push that up, you might even be able to see some movement inside there. But the mines, basically when I push this up, there's a beam inside that pushes the mines up, and if this were not in the way, they would basically push them up and then they would fall out. So it is actually a functional mine layer, which is very fun and very complex to design and bulky and large, but it did work. Moving down from that, we have the secondary ion drive engines, which are these ones, of course, and those, of course, are on both sides because that's just how the ship looks, and it would be weird to have them on only one. So those, again, have this kind of casing around it, built very similarly to the way that the dish was built on the top, where it has, those are made with 1x1, I guess what's connecting them is 1x1s with studs on the sides, and that's here and here. Those two are the ones with the studs on the sides, and the rest is kind of just built around that to, again, make that kind of smoother, more, hammered out look to it. And then I have these, which are kind of just structural things that kind of are just sitting around the outside. I suppose that there's more that I could do with that, but I don't really have the right pieces that I would want to do so. Moving down from there, and I have to take this off the stand now just because it's very low, but there's kind of this piping that you'll see in here. There's a pipe going this way, and then the larger one going this way, and then this all kind of, you can't see it because there's a stand behind it, but it's kind of like a T-shaped section over in the middle there. And I was just kind of trying to get as close to the actual, pictures and stuff as I could. And then, of course, going down, there isn't much detail over here, but there is some, like with that thing there, stuff like that, just to try to make it at least, somewhat accurate to all the pictures and things. But, it wasn't going to be 100% along those lines, just because, there's only so much you can do with inverted Lego bricks. So, if it was a bigger working space, then I could probably do something much better. Same thing with up there. But, that's just kind of what I could do. So there's all of the back. Hopefully it wasn't quite as comprehensive as the video I did actually on the back, but, that's what I could do with the stand in the way and everything. So now I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and move it back to the front. Hope it doesn't break. I'll tell you what I intend to fix in the future. So now that I have it back oriented properly and it's not broken, I can show you what I intend to do with this in the future. So obviously you'll kind of see this big kind of divide that I have here that goes along that edge of the ship there. And I would like to hammer that out more and just try to make this whole area, I want to unite this thing with this. So that's all one flat surface starting about here with where this console ends, just because that's kind of, it's kind of where the windshield ends and the rest of I call this the tail, but the body and the tail begins. And I want to merge those two sections together a bit more. Same thing with this space on the side here. I want to unite all of this, that it's all in line with where the tail is and all funneling up into this area. And then, of course, merging this area and this area is going to be pretty hard. But hopefully I'll be able to figure that out well enough. And then besides that, I definitely want to strengthen this because this is connected by like 4 studs in there, and then that's connected by I guess 8 studs, and that's connected by 4 studs. So this whole mount is kind of flimsy, and you can kind of see how it's pulling away. So I'd like to hammer that out a bit more, just be able to get it to be more both unified and structurally stable. And then I also want to make this area more stable, so it's not really, you can kind of see it slanting a little bit. And then, of course, this moves as well, just by the way. I didn't really go over that, but that does move. But just making that more stable, but being able to keep the detail that I already have in there. It's not tons of detail, but, it'll do for that area. I believe Brickvault did a video where they modified the UCS slave one, and there's kind of some better detailing that they were able to put there, but that is not always my forte. But I have the one that actually is minifigure scale, so anyway, So that's what I would like to improve, and then maybe also strengthening the connection of these plates. This is also connected by like 4 studs on a ball and socket joint, which is not the strongest connection, but it kind of just does the job well enough. So yeah. So those are my future plans. Of course, I still want to finish my Star Destroyer. I would like to do a video on that soon, just an update on that, because I have actually made some major headway. I've been able to fill in some cracks, and I've been able to build a lot of the cannons. So if you haven't seen the videos that I've had so far on the Star Destroyer, I'd recommend you go and watch those, because that's kind of one of the more, I think this was the most structurally challenging MOC that I've done, but that one is a very, very close second, just because of the triangular dimensions of everything and trying to get it to work. But yeah. Anyway, so go watch that if you're interested in that type of thing. I hope that you guys all have a great day or a great night, wherever it is. For me, it's night, and I need to go to bed soon, but I'm not going to, because I'm just terrible that way. And please like and subscribe if you'd like to see where this mod goes in the future, or if you just liked the orientation that I have it in now. I'm very excited about this. So I hope that you guys are too, and I hope that you guys have a great day and you have fun building. So like, subscribe, and comment, and keep on building.